is your Wednesday night sports delight, the platform sports talk show. I am your boy Smoooth.
Along with your girl Bunny.
And Jobo.
When it's about sports.
Oh, it becomes our business? Get out of here.
And business just keeps picking up, especially here in the loop.
There you go.
She's like, well, what? Yeah, it goes. Ladies, how y'all doing on this wonderful Wednesday?
Can't complain. Bunny.
Cardinal Nation has us on a nice little high right now. We're trying to go for 18 wins.
Yep.
Man, let's
Fred's
go.
repping good tonight.
Yes, I am. I had to go ahead, hold it down for the home team. That's what I do. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Another edition of your Wednesday Night Sports Delight. Shouts out to Stan. As I said last week, he's not on tonight. He'll be back in October. Of course, next week, Bunny will be hosting. It's going to be a whole lot going on next Wednesday. There's Bunny hosting Ladies Night. Then you got Wild Card Night, Cardinals versus whether it's the Dodgers or the Giants. And then Joe got her finger up. What that mean, Joe?
I'm sorry, I'm not doing Ladies Night next week. There ain't no way I'm able to sit here in this room while talking other sports and not be, drinking a lot of beer and very nervous for Max Scherzer.
No, see, Joe, that actually will make the broadcast even better. Have your TV, have your drink, provide them updates, have a good time.
I can't. I'd be watching it with Brendan and Mia, and like I said, I'll probably be gone right shortly after work.
Yeah,
alcohol. I didn't get to drink for the playoffs last year. I had Mia and me, so
she's trying to make up a lost time. Here you go.
Yeah, you may only get one game, so yeah.
Hey, I totally understand, but I know that regardless, it's still going to be an incredible show. For those tuning in for the first time, thank you very much. This show has been going on consistently every Wednesday for 4 years, y'all. It's been incredible guests. Make sure y'all go ahead and follow us, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook. Give us that follow, hit that like, hit that share. But when you go on YouTube, y'all must subscribe and click on that
good old bell.
There we go, because anytime we go live, Joe,
you will be notified all over the place.
All over the place.
There you go.
So go ahead and bring them comments in so your comments can be shown on the screen, just like this right here. Bam. What's going on, Miss Williams? She says, hi, Fred. Hi, Bunny. Hi, Joe. There we go.
Hi, Miss Williams.
There we go. So bring them comments in. Be shown all across the world. You're going to be famous tonight dealing with the platform sports talk show. Yeah, man. So everything has been just gravy between the Cardinals doing an incredible job. 17 wins in a row. As Danny Mac says right now, the run to 21. The Blues, they just started. I think they on number 3 now. Preseason game number 3 against Columbus Blue Jackets tonight.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that. Let's see, Miss Williams.
Oh wow,
that's funny.
Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to scare the cat. I'm sorry.
So Miss Williams, which cat was that? I know you have plenty of cats, so I know you used to when I was younger. So how many cats do you have now? And tell us their names if you don't mind as well. So besides that, once again, everything has been great. The lawsuit between the St. Louis and the NFL and the Rams, that's going great.
Yes.
You're talking about the possibility of like over $1 billion.
You know what I'm more interested in? I just that part that they have to open up their books. They meaning Kroenke and NFL. Now that's why I figure they're gonna try to settle because they're not gonna open up those books, but they may have to. They go on with this lawsuit and don't settle. They open up the book. That's gonna open up a whole nother can.
Exactly. So there we go. So that's the cat that got scared. I want to say is that Severo? I believe that's correct. And then she says she has 3 now. Gizmo, Spot, and is that Severo? Let me know if I haven't pronounced it right. I want to make sure I don't mess up the name. I can't let it wrong. Yeah. So once again, great times right now. I do have the game on to my right. Servo. Okay, there we go. Right now, Matt Carpenter is up to bat.
They put him in the game. How many weeks has it been?
Yeah, men on the corners, and it's the Brewers are up 1-0 right now, bottom of the first. And John, I know you were talking about this earlier in regards to having certain guys rest because now be clinched. So this would be a perfect opportunity for guys like Matt Carpenter to hopefully trying to find some rhythm, because I'm still not sure. Right now, I know Tom Ackerman, and we all said this last week, but I don't know right now if Carpenter is going to make the playoff roster.
Right.
I mean, again, if he doesn't make the actual quote unquote roster, he's still going to be there. But I think I don't know if the wild card is any different, but I think he'd be able to have the same roster as you do now, just for that one game. You might have someone like Woodford not be in there just because he's not going to start, and he might be a little bit different coming out of the bullpen.
So, is this going to be his tryout to see if he makes the roster? Because he hasn't played in some games now, and we on his hot streak.
Yeah, these next 5 games are going to be he probably will play every game for the next 5 days.
And that's what I'm thinking also. They let him to play because this is his farewell tour. He doesn't realize it because his contract's up after this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bill was going to play him regardless because of that, whether we made it or not. He was, or at least going to get that one moment. So I'm looking forward to that on Sunday. But I think you might just go in with this roster that you have right now. I don't see what you would change. You got Newbar off the bench, Rendon off the bench.
Honestly, it's no room for Carpenter because is he playing how everybody else is playing? Like, what's the purpose of keeping him on the roster? And he's going to be even
he'd be a bench bat. Be a bench bat still.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know early in the season they was trying to really have as a priority to have a left-handed bench bat, but now you got Lawrence Newbar.
Yeah.
So
no, and I think Lars 100% makes it too. That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's going to be anyone you're going to take from Memphis and just throw into this. I think you can go in with this roster right now, because I think it's a 26-man roster that you can go in with. And then I don't think Woodford will probably even be on the roster because he's not going to start the game. And is he going to come in and during an inning? Like I thought for sure that's what Dakota or Jack would be for. So Woodford might be the odd man out.
Yeah, and I don't think Andrew Miller. I don't think he'll make the roster. Yeah. And same thing with Justin Miller.
Yeah, Justin Miller too. So I mean, I think Carpenter's probably still going to make it. When you get if you get to the division series, then we can talk about that because might have to make some different moves when it comes to that. But just for that one game, I think he's probably going to be on there.
Well, let me ask y'all this, because once September hit, that's when you expand the roster to 40, correct?
Well,
you
no,
don't do that anymore.
It got changed to now 28.
Oh, just 28. Okay.
Yeah.
So then everybody that's playing from here on out can play in the playoffs. So I mean, they still have them on standby, but again, with all the other people that come off the bench ahead of him, it's like I don't know. I'm not sure. I
know you hate Matt Carpenter, but he's probably be on there because again, the 2 Millers probably don't make it. So he's going to be on there as a bench bat. It's maybe Andrew does, but probably not Justin. So, and again, he could go, get a walk in the big part of the game. Like we don't know what the heck this game we could get blown out. Dodgers could somehow get blown out, or it could be a really tight game. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, truthfully, I doubt. Well, I guess for the wild card game, Andrew Miller, but definitely if they advance, I'm gonna go ahead and be confident when they advance. Andrew Miller won't be on because you're gonna already have TJ McFarland, you're gonna already have Henderson Cabrera.
Yeah.
That's what we need from the left side. So and Kim as well.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if he makes the roster in the division series. I don't know that they got some moves to make or big decisions to make whenever we get there.
Kwon Young Kim. I think he will because
Kim. I thought you said Kim. I'm like, who was that? He said Kim. Got it. They need Kim though.
Yeah, I was gonna say for for a few innings as a lefty, he'll be perfect. So we shall see. But we gonna save the Cardinals talk until later, especially with our special guest, who we are definitely excited to have, and he'll be introduced in between 7:30, 8 o'clock. So stay tuned. Keep them shares going, everybody. This is gonna be another incredible show. Shouts out to Tom Ackerman, a great guest last night. Last week, second time on the show, and got a feeling there'll be many more opportunities that we'll have him on. So shouts out to him. Shouts out also to a past guest, Mike Claiborne. It was announced today that he'll be going to the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. So
Mike! Woo-hoo!
Yeah, definitely shouts out. Hey, so people, y'all know it's the proof in the pudding. Y'all be on our show, big things happening. You go on the Hall of Fame, you getting promotions as a coach. The whole time. Hey,
I can throw that in there, really, Joe.
Hey, I got pregnant. You got pregnant.
Oh my goodness!
I got married. Hey, the Platform Sports Talk Show where dreams.
Yeah, where dreams come true.
All right, life dreams, literally.
That's how we do it. But once again, everyone, bring them comments. It doesn't matter who is your favorite sports team. Let us know. Give us some quotes or some comments, questions, whatever it is. We'll have it posted up. Ms. Williams got the woo-hoo going on. I love it. Bring all of that energy. We need it. We want to enjoy and interact with you throughout this whole evening. So let's talk first about Blues. Once again, they are in game number 3. They are in Columbus tonight, facing up against the Blue Jackets. Joe, have you had the opportunity to watch any of the Blues games? If so, what have been your thoughts?
We got to watch a little bit of Saturday at home. James Neal is looking pretty good. I don't know how they're going to make that work with the cap, but I mean, I was excited that he got an invite to training camp. So I really hope that he sticks. And even Frolic, he's a good name too. But he's the one guy that's really sticking out to me, and I hope he sticks. And then we got a hometown kid coming back, and that's Zach Sanford trade, which I think all of St. Louis is 100% okay that Zach Sanford's gone. It's not being mean, but that's, just how it's going.
What it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, but yeah, so now we got to feel bad for Brown. He was training here, and then he drove all the way back to Vancouver, I think it was. And then once he got there, he got the call about the trade, and so he drove all the way back to St. Louis right after. That's rough.
And then, so you brought up, I'm sorry, what's his name? Is that Dean? That's his last name?
Brown.
No, I'm talking about the first guy you brought up.
Oh, Neal. James
Neal. I'm sorry, yeah. So he came out, once again, Scott Perunovich. He's been showing. And what's the other guy name? He's a young guy. Tip of the tongue. It'll come to me in a second as we keep on discussing everything. But I've been hearing a lot of good reports from a lot of these guys for the Blues. So look forward to a great season coming up, man. Doug Armstrong got a 5-year extension as well. So he's not going nowhere. How instrumental has he been to everything that's been going on these last few years for the Blues, Joe? I
mean, just look at who your captain is right now. Like, I am 100% convinced, like, there's 2 guys that you don't win the cup without, and that's Bennington and O'Reilly. And he made that O'Reilly trade happen. He what's the word I'm trying to think? He robbed them on that trade. He robbed them on that trade. It's going to be talked about for years to come. And he's a smart GM. He's a smart GM, and then that whole line that Michelle Smallman's been saying a lot lately is that whole, you gotta take the knife and jab it in their eyes or whatever it is. He's got some good quotes too. Right.
And for all those watching, let us know who are you excited to see this season. Your thoughts in regards to the overall NHL season. I look forward to seeing what TNT is going to bring in regards to their network and everything, providing the NHL. Same thing with ESPN being back. So it's really a good.
We don't have to have the NHL's ticket plan to watch more games now.
Right.
It's going to be different, though. That's for sure.
Definitely exciting times. And Bunny, I know that you are a huge fan of like Inside the NBA with with Charles Barkley and Shaq and EJ.
EJ, yeah, buddy.
So hockey supposed to have their own version of it as well. So stay tuned for that. Should be good. Are y'all? Well, no, you probably won't get no tickets for the Winter Classic since it's gonna be in Minnesota, right, Joe?
Yeah, we went to that alumni game here in St. Louis, but yeah, we probably won't be traveling to go to go watch one. That's for sure.
Yeah, but definitely should be exciting. I think that's going to be on TNT as well, one of their that national broadcast game. So look forward to it, man. We just hope for a nice full regular season. We expect Enterprise Center to be going crazy this season with all the fans.
The other teams besides the same ones, like we saw the Coyotes 7 days straight this year or last year.
That was crazy. And, was it the Coyotes and the Avalanche? We saw like 7 games in a row.
It felt like the Coyotes was like earlier in the year, and then I think the Avalanche was like the last week or so of the year that we saw them. I'm ready to be playing other teams. Everyone in the league. So that's gonna be exciting.
See, Miss Williams says she has NBA League Pass this year, so she hopes to watch more games. Yeah, that most definitely. Just good to have all these professional leagues back to normal. Not no truncated season where you got to play, just certain set teams. No, it's gonna be fun. And then, like I said, having all the fans back. Have a comment from I think someone that you know, Joe.
What?
Jody Marty says there are more than 2 teams in the league, right?
I've heard there is, so that's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, definitely should be exciting. Once again, everyone, take this time out right now to go ahead and share this stream. Let everyone know about it. If you know someone who's a sports fan, let them know. Tell them tune in. They can be part of the show. They can enjoy themselves. That's what this show is all about, because we have a crazy show in store for you tonight. Look forward to our special guest. He's waiting to get on. Look forward to chopping up with him very soon in the next few minutes or so. So let's go ahead and go right into our next topic, the NFL. We are now going into week 4, starting tomorrow night, Bunny. I know I asked you last week, but of course, every week things change. You're starting to see the coming up of who's real to who's the pretenders. I mean, who's the contenders to the pretenders. Week 4 now going in, you're gonna have 5 teams that's undefeated. Is there been any team that has started to set themselves up for a nice run going all the way?
Not that I can tell. Even though you said 5 undefeated, I can't tell yet. It's definitely up and down. It's kind of early, but no. You see what happened with the Chiefs. People are already hopping off the Chiefs bandwagon. I don't know if y'all know this or not. People.
I think it's funny.
Chiefs, sorry, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Saints, they may be something for real. Justin Fields got tore up with the Bears, but he's a rookie. I expected that. I've been hearing not back and forth. Watching the Sports Center shows and hear this, and then I'll give him a chance. Again, he's a rookie. How many other rookies look like him? A few out there that are good. So the Bears are still in trouble, I think. But no, I haven't seen any runaway. The Bucks maybe still, but who else was up there? Because my predictions had the Bucks going back to Super Bowl against the Eagles, and the Eagles not looking good right now either. So
yeah, the Eagles looked pretty bad this past Monday night. They
I thought they were going to actually be good, but it's still early. Y'all don't forget we only week 3, still early.
So right now the undefeated teams are the Raiders, the Broncos, the Rams, let me go back over here, the Cardinals, and the Panthers. So Carolina Panthers 3-0 so far. Sam Darnold used to be with the Jets. Now he's on the Panthers doing his thing. The Rams looking pretty good though. They finally
I don't like mentioning them, but we'll see. No, honestly, though, I can say switching quarterbacks, Goff and Stafford. The Rams have won that deal so far. I give it to them that way.
man, is having that bona fide quarterback that can make plays. And golf, he's just not that guy. He wasn't that guy. And now the Rams finally made that move, and now you're seeing Stafford with better
system,
better system, better players, and now he just out there having fun. You know what I'm saying? There's no better feeling to go out there and play a sport, especially a quarterback, and feel like you just having fun. You just out there, like when they say the game goes slow, that's how he feels right now. Everything is going slow. He's making his passes. He's having a good time, and there we go. That game between the Packers and the 49ers this past Sunday night, that was a great game. But I always say this: you cannot leave teams like Brett Favre. I'm sorry, Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers led team and give them enough time to come back, because it only takes 3 passes with a team like him, or when Drew Brees was with the Saints, even with the Chiefs.
Tom Brady.
Brady. It is certain teams you can't give them 30 seconds or more to make it come back. You gotta pay. Yeah, you got to find a way to.
A lot of time in football, so especially with guys like Rodgers and Brady and Brees, like you said, they work their magic. That's like when they're at their best. So yeah, you can't do that.
And Miss Williams, I just see on the screen, agrees that the game was great. She called the end of it. Turned out, yeah, it was the best part, because at first it looked like the Packers were going to run away with the game going to halftime, but then the 49ers came back. Then they had the lead for a second, but once again, you cannot leave opportunities for good teams to come back. You have to learn how to milk that clock as long as possible and don't give them no opportunities to even get the ball, because just having time of possession could be doomed for you. And just after the 49ers. But tomorrow night, I believe you have the who's playing tomorrow? Let me pull it back up real quick. I think tomorrow night football game. Let's see. Thursday night football. I had it on my computer, but I lost it. So let me pull it back up. The power of Google. All right, here we go. So tomorrow night you have let's see. Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Bengals. And the Bengals, they're 2-1. So they on the come up as well. So it's not like, especially with Joe Burrow's second year, then he got some more weapons. Hey, this could be the year that a few teams that's been down in the cellar dweller could start making some noise, like the Panthers, the Broncos. Once again, they undefeated, so we shall see.
I don't put the Broncos in cellar dweller territory. You know that. They just won a Super Bowl 5 years ago or 4, so they're not that type of organization or team.
But they had Peyton Manning ever since then.
Right. But I mean, they had it out. But again, that's when we mentioned these teams. I'm like, okay, yeah, the Broncos had a couple of bad years, but they're not like a Bengals or a Browns. And you see what the Browns did for the first time last year, made it to the playoffs. So I'm thinking also the Browns is another team that may make a noise, surprisingly. We kind of had a feeling last year, weren't sure, but this year, who I never had hope for, it's the New York Jets. I don't think they could buy their way to getting better.
It is definitely all bad if you are a Jet fan.
Jets. And yet they're like, to me, almost like the Cubs of football. Like they almost like there. Seriously.
See, now I was if the Cubs
almost. I didn't say they are, but they almost.
I mean, but see, like even during the time where the Cubs didn't go to the playoffs or win, at least they had a winning record. They just couldn't.
Wasn't that many though. I mean, we can blink and be like, oh, okay, the winning record's going like that.
The Jets are always under 500. The Cubs at least were, they at least had an above 500 record. They may not have gone all the way. I'm trying to think who would be. I would say the Jets would be comparable to the Pirates right now. That's a better team to say.
Diamondback.
Yeah, a team that
the Diamondbacks is not a old organization, so that's why I wouldn't throw them in there, because they only been around for like 20, 30 years. But the Orioles, right? Okay, that's one. Okay, yep. And I give credit to the fan base, that loyal fans, to see the losing all that time and still stick with them. I give it to them.
Last thing about football, one of the very small amount of things I love about football is the stadiums are usually packed no matter what. I really like that.
That's what I was saying last week. Because it's only one game a week, fans are going to show up, and usually going to be 60 to 70,000 people ready to go ahead and get drunk and cheer for their favorite team. So
yeah.
And now I want to make a comment, but we got to remember hold the baseball talk. So let's just bring this up later. When you're talking about the fans in the stands, remember weeks ago we talked about the Cardinals. If the Cardinals were doing now what they were doing 2 months ago, with COVID, do you still think it'd be as packed? And again, I know we got to table this to talk Cardinals again, but you're talking about fans in the stands, so let's bring this back up.
Yes, because the fans were pissed off, but we'll say that for later, especially with our special guest that we'll be bringing on in a matter of minutes. Okay. So sticking with football today, Richard Sherman, he's back in the NFL. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he'll be joining Brady and them after they got whooped by the Rams this past Sunday. Be interested to see what he brings to the table, if he still got it or not. It sounds like he may not play this Sunday as Tampa Bay, or shall I say as Tom Brady and the Buccaneers goes to New England, his old home, and faces off against Belichick and all them boys. So that should be a very interesting game. But look like Sherman is not going to play. He needs to just get more reps in another week or so, then he should be good to go. And also Josh Gordon, this guy here, Bunny. You talking about a guy who keep on wasting opportunities. This guy is so talented and still very young, but keeps on getting into trouble outside of the football field, whether it's smoking or drinking or whatever it is, just getting himself in trouble. But he's so talented, but he has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. So if he stays healthy, he can definitely be a dynamic piece to that team. What are your thoughts on both Richard Sherman and Josh Gordon? Oh, can't hear you. You're on mute.
My bad. Regarding Jones staying out of trouble, I don't get it, but maybe because didn't have access to a lot of money real fast at a young age to not act right, so I can stay and do the sport I love. But hopefully. And he's around some good people at the Chiefs organization. He'd keep his path clear and perform and do what he was drafted to do and show up and show out. So I'm hoping the best for him. Sherman, I read that Brady did that personal call to him, probably like how he did it with Gronk. It don't take much to work with Brady. His resume speaks for itself. So he called me. I was like, sure, what I got to lose? I've been chilling anyway, so. I know Sherman still got something to give. Even if it's not on the field, nothing else. I thought other veterans just add to veteran presence on there, teach the next young buck. So I'm happy for him. I mean, it's so unfortunate it ended badly with him in Seattle, but if the Bucks ready to give you another shot, show up, show out, do what you do. Take the best of it. Maybe another ring out of this, So
gotta put a ring on it. So Miss Williams, you see here, she says she's surprised to learn that 12 teams have never won a Super Bowl, including the Cardinals. So moving to AZ didn't help them get there. Well, they came close.
St. Louis, man.
They came close when Kurt Warner was the quarterback for the Cardinals, but then Pittsburgh Steelers came in the Super Bowl and came back and won that game. But the Cardinals were very close to winning.
It don't matter. Close don't get you the ring, though, bro.
What's that about?
Horseshoes.
That's about what, 12 years ago now? 15 years ago now that game happened. Man, time go by so fast. But it was I'm like, dang, how long ago was that game now?
Hey, I got them in the Super Bowl this year.
What happened, Joe?
I got them in the Super Bowl this year, so let's see if that happens or not.
It was on
the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest test comes this Sunday when they face off against the Rams at the Rams. So we shall see.
Have the Rams played away from their stadium yet?
Yeah. They played one game at the Colts and they won, of course.
Actually, who I'm surprised at still, but I shouldn't say I'm surprised, but they should have done more in the offseason. You heard what's his name being disgruntled, Russell Wilson in Seattle. They didn't do enough in the offseason to be deadly competitive. Now, if they win a division, I'm surprised, but I can see them still getting the playoffs. But you heard Russell being disgruntled too. Not as bad as Aaron Rodgers, but that and now I'm seeing how they're playing. It's like, I know it's early, but they got to fix something fast. So they're definitely not going to be winning that division. I mean, that's what LA is doing. So it's a stiff one.
Yep, very stiff, but we shall see once again. Let's see how well the Cardinals and them play against the Rams. That's going to be their early measuring stick to see if they really real or not, especially after the Rams beat the Buccaneers. So the Rams going to be on a high. Cardinals should be coming in with confidence. We shall see. But once again, this is your Wednesday night Sports Delight, the platform sports talk show. Continue to get them shares, them likes going, them retweets, the whole nine. I am your boy Smoooth, along with
Bunny
and Joe Bill.
There we go. And right now, it is that time, people. It is an honor to have to the show. He's a St. Louis-based writer. He has worked for ESPN, the Big Dog. He worked for the Athletic, also for the Orange County Register. It's a guy here that I always look forward to hearing when he is on one-on-one ESPN. He provides great insight in regards to everything St. Louis Cardinals related. Always enjoy his conversations and look forward to speaking to this man this evening. Without any further ado, everyone, let's go ahead and welcome on to the platform sports talk show, the one, the only. They call him Saxy, call him Mr. Controversial.
Saxy.
They call him Saxy. Also, Mr. Mark Saxon. Mark Saxon, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, Mr. Saxon.
That is the greatest intro I've ever gotten. I am so happy to be with you all tonight. And I love your show. I love the laid back vibe and the way you all just are friendly with each other and just kick it and talk sports. And I'm just really pumped to be part of it. So however I can help, please let me do it. I don't want to dominate the conversation because I'd rather listen to you all.
Man,
look, we're here to listen to you.
Okay,
I know you have plenty to tell us and talk
we'll do
about.
A little both. How about that?
Yeah, man, we definitely are excited to have you. Thanks for taking some time out your day. I know right now you out there in the streets, waiting on your son. Is that
I
correct?
got 2 of them in there at baseball practice. I hope it doesn't look like I'm in witness protection or something because I know it's kind of dark in the car. I've got all the lights on, but we should be clear. They don't get out till 8, so we should be clear at least from the distraction of my 14-year-old and 12-year-old jumping in after practice with all the craziness.
Sounds good. Once again, we definitely appreciate you being on. And for those watching, leave them comments. Don't be shy. No matter if your favorite team is the Cardinals or the Astros, like someone that we know on this panel.
My clinch tonight. Let's go.
Joe, you're brave. I like it.
It's my team.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter whatever it is, baseball related. Let's go ahead and leave them questions. We'll go ahead and post it on the screen and interact with the Mark Saxon. So, Mark, once again, can't say enough. Thank you very much. Sure. Let's get right into it because, of course, we're dealing with a lot of Cardinal baseball going on. It's so exciting. Yeah. But before we get to the current, we got to start off with where you came from. So if you don't mind telling us, so when did you, at what age would you say that you fell in love with sports?
Oh, that's a good one. So I'm a St. Louis native. I grew up here. To answer the question on everyone's mind, what school did you go to, right? I went to Parkway Central. So for me, and I'm 51 years old. So for me, the formative memories were, those great Cardinals teams under Whitey in the 80s. I was 12 when they won the World Series in 1982. Ozzie was just, this phenom. Because I was old enough where I'd been to games in the late 70s too, and the only real reason to go was to see an aging Lou Brock or Ted Simmons, 2 great players, but there wasn't a whole lot around them. And then in the 80s, when Whitey came, everything changed, and it was just an electric time to be a baseball fan in St. Louis. And I guess I never really recovered from it because I ended up, going into journalism, wound up in sports journalism, and ended up covering baseball and eventually making it back to my hometown. So hope it wasn't too long-winded, but that was sort of the career path that I took. I worked in newspapers out west. I got hired by ESPN to cover the Dodgers. Did that. They wanted to move me back to St. Louis because they were gearing up for a lot of local coverage. If you think about, this was about 6 years ago now, and they moved me back to St. Louis. This was when, ESPN was in better shape. A lot of these big media industries were in better shape. Now they've sort of peeled back a little bit in terms of content, but so I got the bug really like everybody else in St. Louis, just watching the Cardinals, and you can kind of imagine this run that they're on right now. There's kids out there seeing that, feeling that electricity and just jumping on board, right?
Exactly. So as you brought up, the white rat, Whitey Herzog. What is it about Cardinal baseball? Let's just talk about as a youngster that just really gravitates people to want to watch it more and really follow them.
Yeah, to me, it's always been the unique thing about Cardinals fans, and I've worked in other markets. Like I said, there are a lot of very vibrant Dodgers fans. There are a lot of very intense Giants fans. The East Coast has its own brand of fandom, right? But what I think really separates Cardinals fans from others is just how deeply ingrained it is almost in our emotions, where if the Cardinals aren't doing well, people walk around town kind of in a bad mood, And if they win the night before, everybody seems to be in a better mood the next day. So I just think it's really cool. Like if we put it in the current context of this great run they're on, they sort of made the fall for all of their fans, because it's a bummer for Cardinals fans to have October baseball on and not get to watch their team. And now, they've got that gift again, and call them spoiled, but the fact that the fans here love the team so much is good for the team because it fills the seats. And the fact that the team wins is good for the fans. So it's a pretty symbiotic relationship, I think.
Yeah, and I meant to mention this last week to Tom Ackerman, but it just feels like baseball isn't really right if the Cardinals are not in it in October.
Yeah,
it's just like it's just something that's just missing if the team is not playing in October.
Yeah, it's exactly like, to me, baseball is better when the Yankees are in October.
True.
So yeah. And I think that it seems like a more interesting NFL season when the Cowboys make the playoffs. Sure seems like a more interesting NBA season when the Lakers make it. So these big marquee teams,
right,
I think, are good for sports because you usually with those teams, you either love them or hate them. So if the Yankees are in, you're going to have a certain percentage who love them. Everybody else as a baseball fan hates them. Sick of seeing them on TV, every night, every Sunday night on ESPN playing the Red Sox, it seems like. So, yeah, I think it is good for the sport, though, when those big iconic brands make it into the postseason. I just think you get more eyeballs. It seems a little more dynamic.
And Ms. Williams says she agrees that the mood of the city rises and falls with Cardinals' success.
And I love that. That's beautiful, Ms. Williams. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, the media doesn't make it seem like they like seeing the Cardinals in the postseason.
Who doesn't?
The media. I don't know. Just like besides St. Louis, obviously, all I saw yesterday was like, okay, I'm happy for Nato, and that's it. Like they don't care at all. So I mean, it's whatever. They can hate us, I guess.
You're talking about like the national baseball media.
Yeah, national. Yeah.
Well,
they love seeing the Yankees in it, but not the Cardinals, so it doesn't really make sense to me.
I think for the national kind of baseball media scene, the Cardinals are always just this sort of little irritation nagging at them, right? And the Cubs became that for a while too, because they're just like a lot of this country, they're coastal minded, right? So like everyone's paying attention to the Yankees, everyone's paying attention to the Red Sox, everyone's paying attention to the Dodgers, Giants, Padres. And then, oh, wait a minute, there's some noise getting made in the middle of the country. That we got to turn our gaze into the middle of the country, and they're not really as accustomed to do that. And so I do think, yeah, I think some of the kind of bias you're talking about is real.
Yep, most definitely. I agree. And then Ms. Williams says the day after the Cardinals won the series in 2011, two of her coworkers were already discussing possibility for the next season. I mean, this is how it is because from the beginning of time, there's just been a certain expectation that when October comes, the Cardinals should be in there. So,
right.
Yeah, it may be spoiled, whatever you want to call it, but we just so used to seeing the team there and having a certain expectation. So it doesn't feel right if we're not there. So
it's funny you say that because one of my best friends texted me, I don't really care about this year. I don't know if we'll win the wild card or any of that. I just think it speaks so highly for next year. And I kind of remember thinking, really? You're not getting caught up in this? Don't you want to kind of live for this ride and see where it can go? But now I kind of see it in terms of what you're talking about. It's this continuity. Like, these are not a fan base that are jumping on and off the bandwagon, depending on how they're doing. They kind of pay attention to it year round. And, the fact that they're competing now probably is good for next year. It might convince them to spend a little more money. But I do think it's important that people stay in the moment and enjoy this run, see how far they can go. It's all a mystery, but boy, the postseason can get really, really exciting when it turns kind of chaotic, right?
Yep. And once again, we definitely will hit more of what's going on with the Cardinals as we go with this wonderful conversation that we're having with the one and only Mark Saxon. So, Saxy, would you say that you were an athlete during your younger years?
Not really. My kids are better than I was already, and they're only 14 and 12. I was a child of divorce. I didn't play as many organized sports as kids do now. A lot of what I did was just the kids in the neighborhood would always have a backyard football game. I did play high school football, so I continued with the football. My baseball career was very sporadic. I stopped. I never played high school baseball. I did play Little League. But a lot of it, for me, like I said, a child of divorce was just the challenge of, getting rides to practice and stuff. And so I always told myself, when I get to be a parent, if they want to do activities and things, I'm going to be the one driving them. And so that's kind of been an important thing for me. And lately, not having steady work has been it's been really nice to be able to fill that role for my boys, especially as they get into the teen years.
Nice. So would you say that your first love was baseball or was it a different sport?
My first love was baseball, but it's interesting. In my family, my father, after the strike in 1981, had kind of turned away from baseball. We were more of a football family, but I was sort of stood out in that I was so Cardinals obsessed. I would get my USA Today every day. I'd get my Baseball Weekly on whenever it came out Thursday. I'd get my Redbird Review in the mail. So, I mean, I was all over. The way you had to go everywhere to get your stats in those days. You couldn't go online, and it was all neatly organized for you.
Got you. And what are you sipping on right now?
This is a little bit. This is my Chick-fil-A half and half iced tea. I highly recommend.
There we go.
I go half and half. I can't. It's too sweet for me. All the sweet tea.
Got you. So, Chick-fil-A, cut the check. Y'all, we just made y'all even more famous, okay?
Give him a free plug.
There you go. Show us love now on the platform Sports Talk Show. All right, so you say you went to Parkway. Was that Central?
Central, yeah.
So how would you describe your time there?
It was high school. High school was a tough time. There's a lot going on and changing, and you're changing as a person. You're becoming an adult. But it was great. I mean, I loved, so many friendships that I made and things. And I certainly didn't leave any of the record books changed in the football department, but I had a few catches here and there. I was a tight end. had some fun.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
guess I survived it okay.
Okay. You was the Gronk / Tony Gonzalez before they got big, huh?
No, I was more like the backup to those guys, like whoever the guy you can't even name. Oh yeah, who was that guy again? The backup tight end.
Hey, if you had a jersey, you were doing something, all right?
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Right.
We'll take the small wins.
Appreciate that. I needed it.
You got some people who just wasn't able, so you had some kind of advantage at that time. Was it a time in school that made you, like, was it a class you took or someone that you knew that made you get into your love of writing and journalism?
Well, that's a good question. So when I got finished college, and I had moved out to California by that time, I was intent on becoming like a political writer. I wanted to be a foreign correspondent and go overseas. But I went to Cal Berkeley for graduate school, and I went to the journalism school because that was another thing I always wanted to do. I liked writing. I was good at it. I was never any good at math or science, but I could write pretty well. But what happened is when I got to journalism school at Berkeley, there was an opportunity, to do an internship in the sports department at the Oakland Tribune. And the thing about it was it paid. And I needed money for school, so I did it. And I've never left the sports department. After 30 years, I've remained, even though that wasn't the original intention. But like we talked about, Smooth, it's like, if you're a sports fan, you can always tap into that. And so for me at that time, I'm starting on a young journalism career. I could tap into that sports love. And so when it came up, I followed that path. And then I found I ended up liking it. And like I said, 30 years later, here I am.
And Bunny, I know that in the past you always wanted to, get into. No, actually, you did get into like sports broadcasting. Were you like into journalism at all, or doing any writing back in your heyday?
Like I'm so old, like my heyday. Okay, yeah, I'm not a spring chicken. I only did a little bit of writing. I did more broadcasting. So I would do interviews with a couple of athletes, get stories that were sports related around campus. When I did internship, it was at Channel 2, Fox 2 News and Sports Department. So I picked up some of the stuff that they did back then. But I definitely will say journalism back then and then what you kind of cover now, it does have some differences. And one of the biggest things is because of social media.
Right.
And the technology. Because when I used to say sex, my editing of my stories, I was using Adobe, I forgot what it was called. And that little booth we had at school, I'm just saying the technology that I see then compared to what I had to deal with and carrying around that dang on heavy camera. Dude, they have got it made compared in my big old self, right? I had to carry around the camera way more than I did, but it got
now you see guys, the videos that the Cardinals post on Twitter, they have just like little selfie stick with the camera on it, watching them go, and then back in the day, big old camera.
That's all you need now.
Yeah.
Yep. Joe, did you have any interest in writing or journalism during your younger years?
Younger. I did. I did journalism in high school. I worked with the newspaper, so I always liked doing that. And writing was always one of my more favorite classes. But I never did it to where I was going to make a career out of it. But I always really enjoyed it, going around interviewing people at school, teachers, students, athletes, and whatnot. But I like writing, so yeah, I probably should have done something like that.
Very, very cool. So, Mark, what came first? Was it the Orange County Register, or was it that call from ESPN?
Well, I was actually at the Orange County Register. So, like I said, I had gone to the Oakland Tribune, which is up in Northern California, the Bay Area, obviously, and I got offered the job of covering the Angels for the Orange County Register. So that was back in 2004. I went down and took that, and that was an interesting time. as a baseball writer there because that was when Artie Moreno had just taken over that team. The guy who would later steal Albert Pujols from the Cardinals. Very obviously wealthy guy, but he wanted to make a splash when he first got there. And you guys may not remember this because it was a while ago, again, 2004, but he signed all the top free agents in the market that year. He signed Vladimir Guerrero, not junior, senior. He signed Jose Guillen, Bartolo Colon.
Yep, I recall that.
Yeah, and Calvin Escobar. So he just really put this dream team together. And so it's kind of fun to jump in there. So that's to make a long story short. I was at the Orange County Register when ESPN decided they wanted to launch ESPN Los Angeles, which was a website of all local content. And they hired me at that time to cover the Angels and USC football. So I did all sorts of things for them. And that was just a blast. We were sort of starting up a website on our own. It was like, we were just throwing stuff against the wall to see what would stick. It was great.
So was it you doing something to get your name out there so ESPN can see you, or they heard of you or saw your work that made them want to get at you?
No, I did. Well, I did have it always helps for anybody who might be listening to the show and you want to get into an industry, just start trying to meet people in that industry. And it helped that my friend Eric Neal, I had already known the guy. Again, his name is Eric Neal. He had been working at the magazine and he had been out to do a story on Pete Carroll for ESPN, the magazine. Well, Eric Neal later became in charge of ESPN LA. So wow. I knew someone well who had gotten that. So it really helped there. And I was at a time in my career where I was really desperate to kind of get out of newspapers because I could see kind of the writing on the wall. They've been struggling. And so it was a really good thing for me that happened. That was back in 2009. And I'm really grateful to Eric and everyone that they saw something in me and they took a chance on me.
And just to have on your resume that you've done stuff, for ESPN, how gratifying does that feel to you? And while you were there, were you able to meet a lot of the big heads, big name people in ESPN?
Yeah, ESPN, even though it is a big kind of, conglomerate and everything, it feels kind of small because the TV part, well, it's big. I would go to Bristol a few times a year for meetings. And so you would see these people. At the winter meetings, they would always set up to do web hits with Carl Ravitch or some of the other Baseball Tonight people. And you would meet, the guys like, all the color analysts at the time. It was whether it was Kurt Schilling or whether it was Barry Larkin was doing it for a while, Mark Mulder. All those guys would be around at the stadium, so you'd see them then. And occasionally you do, I would do some Sports Center work. They'd have me on to talk about the Dodgers, so you get to know the anchors a little bit that way. So yeah, I mean, not to name drop, but you do kind of get to know all those people. And again, I always found ESPN a really kind of nice kind of family environment to work in. And the other cool thing was because it's owned by Disney, you got this silver pass. You could take your kids to Disney properties for free whenever you wanted to go. So that was kind of cool.
Man, you was
I want that perk right now. Right. Give me that perk, Sax. Bring it on to me. Transfer
that's the best part. That's all.
He had all the Mickey Mouse hats and everything. He was ready at the Saxon household.
I should have worn one.
Oh man, that's pretty awesome. And then, like you said, so from the Angels, then you got word about joining, being the beat writer for the Cardinals. Is that correct?
Yeah. So ESPN, they wanted to keep kind of doubling down on how local they were, and so they wanted to add other teams they were covering. So they already had the Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox. They were going to add the Cardinals, Braves, and other teams. And the Cardinals were the first phase of that. They knew I'd lived in St. Louis. And so it was a contract. My contract was coming up. We were negotiating. They said, hey, what would you think about moving back to St. Louis? And it was kind of a fun idea. And I bandied it about with my wife. She's a California girl, but she was kind of intrigued by it. And we decided to do it, and that was 6 years ago, and it's really turned out to be a good a good thing for our family, I think.
And just from you being a STL boy, I know it had to be special to be able to be that beat writer for the Cardinals working with ESPN, right?
It did. And in fact, even more special, I'll give you a quick little story. The first day I was at the stadium when I was covering, my first job in baseball was to cover the Giants for the Oakland Tribune. They covered both the A's, who were in Oakland, and the Giants, obviously, were right across the bay. So I was doing that. And the first interview one-on-one I ever did, the Cardinals happened to be in town. And I knew from Dusty Baker that he was very close with Willie McGee. And Willie McGee, do you remember Willie McGee at the end of his career when he returned to the Cardinals?
Mm-hmm.
This was the very end. I think it was 1998. So I went over to talk to Willie about whether he would want to ever coach with Dusty. And I wrote a story about that. But I just thought it was cool because the very first one-on-one interview I ever did as a baseball writer was with a guy who I had just worshipped as a kid. You know, I still remember in 1982 when he came up and this phenom he was. So, you know, for me, that was kind of a cool moment.
And Miss Williams has a question. How did your wife like St. Louis?
Oh, that's good. She loves St. Louis. You know, she has found a little bit. My wife is more social than I am. She likes to have a big community. She hasn't found that here so much because I think she didn't grow up here, right? Most of us St. Louisans, most of our friends are from when we were kids. So she's had a little bit of trouble kind of breaking in that way. But she loves, the the schools that our kids in, and she loves the convenience of it. LA, if you want to go to the grocery store, you have to, block out about 45 minutes to an hour because it's going to take you 20 minutes guaranteed just to fight traffic to get there. So stuff like that, it's a little less stressful here. Let's put it that way.
Most definitely. Once again, on Sports Talk Show. My name is Smoooth, along with
Bunny.
Joe Bell.
and we have special guests.
I need a cool nickname. I can't just say Mark Saxon.
Hey,
Saxy.
Yeah,
Saxy. All right. How about Sexy Saxy? Can I push it?
Hey, all right.
Now trending on Twitter.
I know.
I
Now,
hope.
look, he could take that name to the east side and do something with it.
I don't think I do well, but good suggestion, Brian.
Hey, just ask Ozuna and Martinez from a few years ago.
Nothing good happens after midnight over there.
Just had to go there, huh, Smooth?
So, few years in, you're doing your thing with ESPN. What was it that made you say, okay, ESPN has been fun, but now the athletic is calling?
Oh yeah, that one, like this, that was not my choice. That, if you remember back to, this was April of 2017, ESPN laid off 100 people.
Right.
I was one of those people.
Got you.
So, Doug Glanville was one of the guys, Jim Bowden, Jason Stark, a lot of big baseball people on ESPN, and I was one of those people. So what I was doing at that point after ESPN, first of all, they gave me a great deal, so I wasn't under pressure to get a job right away. They gave me a good severance, and I'm grateful for that. I actually did some teaching. I taught journalism at Webster University, and I really enjoyed that. And I kind of got the radio side going a little more, doing more guest hosting with 101. And I really enjoyed that as well. So those are two things in my career that I'd like to continue to do. And we'll hopefully that works out. But I did enjoy teaching, and I enjoyed doing the radio side of things as well.
I meant to ask this earlier to you regarding coming back to St. Louis. It's been, you said, 6 years now?
That's right, yeah.
So did you navigate to any other current or former writers, such as, back when Miklas was writing and Brian Burwell, Joe Gordon, any of those? Did you get to connect with them right away, or did you eventually have to work your way into running to them and you all bonding?
Well, no, I didn't, because remember, Bunny, like even though we were all in different cities, I knew all those guys,
Okay.
just from traveling around the league. So I knew Bernie, I knew Joe Strauss, I knew Derek Gould, I knew Brian Burwell a little bit. I had a ton of respect for that crew, by the way. They had some real heavyweight sports writers, and they still do. Derek is still here. Ben Fredrickson is great, but boy, that era was special. Bernie could really bring it, and Burwell was terrific. They just had a star-studded staff. So yeah, I did know some of those guys, and that helped. Just feeling a little more comfortable coming here, because when you come to cover a new team, nothing really feels comfortable. But yeah, it was nice to have some familiar faces, for sure.
And then we all know that St. Louis is rich and deep in history in regards to awesome broadcasters and journalists.
Right.
It's really a jewel when it comes to sports media as a whole. St. Louis is a very special place, and I'm sure you can attest to that.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Nobody when I lived in other states, nobody knew Joe Buck was from here. They didn't put two and two together and know that he was Jack Buck's son. Very few people knew that Bob Costas, even though he didn't grow up here, has lived here for forever, or he did for a long time. So yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. I think Dan McLaughlin is as good as any of them. I think this town is really lucky to have him. He's a hometown guy. His passion is real, and he's just really talented. So I think he'll be a Hall of Famer before it's all said and done too.
And it's been so fun listening to him during this stretch right now. You could tell, like, earlier in the year, listening to him, just hear how deflated he was,
Oh, my God.
And like you said, he's a fan, he's very passionate, but now he's having so much fun. And, like, one of my favorites is that double play in Chicago, and he's like, and Bader is in it! Like, he was just so amazed by it. I love listening to him.
He doesn't miss a beat. Yeah. That double play later became a telephone number. I wonder how many people dialed that number, whatever it was.
That was insane. And then Tyler O'Neill's just sitting there, just watching it unfold. That was funny.
Right.
Wow, everything like this is crazy, because it's exactly how I was like, man, this is unbelievable what's going on at this Cubs game.
Exactly.
Let's talk about your time your continued time guest appearing on 101 ESPN. Looks like it's been like a perfect marriage for you. Feel like you were able to just really be yourself and provide your intel and have a good time on 101 ESPN.
Yeah, it really is. That's how I would put it. It's a little bit like ESPN in that everybody I've worked with over there, I just really like. So Brandon Kaya is just a very nice young man. He's invited me on to co-host with him a bunch. I've done the Fast Lane with those guys in the past. That early morning one is a little tougher just because I'm not like a get up at 5 a.m. guy. You're going to need like some pretty strong coffee to get me out of there. But yeah, whenever they invite me on, I almost always do it if there's no conflicts, because look, it's so fun. We're doing it right here. And if they pay you for it, I mean, who wouldn't do that, right? It's great. So yeah, if you're going to pay me to talk, I'll talk all day. How about that?
Exactly. And like I said, I always look forward to it because you always have some good intel in regards to what's going on with the current state of the team at that time. So I definitely enjoy your time there. So now let's go ahead and get right back into it. The Cardinals, we all know now, 17 games going for 18. They are down right now 1-0. But just overall, Mark, how incredible. I know that you said earlier how you found the Cardinals doing Whitey Herzog years, etc. But just how incredible, and is it something that you've never seen before in regards to what the Cardinals are doing right now?
Yeah, it is incredible. And what stands out to me is the timing in the season when they're doing it. And also the fact that during this winning streak, like leave aside that it's this historic winning streak, they've knocked out all the teams that they need to knock out to reach the postseason. They knocked out the Mets, basically. They knocked out the Padres, basically. They knocked out the Reds, basically. So they did it themselves. That's why head-to-head is so key at the end of the year, and it just worked out well. Right. I think that's really cool about it. The two streaks it reminds me of, the 2008 Colorado Rockies, if you remember how hot they were at the end of the year, that propelled them all the way to the World Series. So timing-wise, it reminds me of that. And then the other one would be the 20-game winning streak for the Oakland A's, if you saw the movie Moneyball, right? Because they just so hot, just like you couldn't, they were blowing teams out. And that's kind of at times what the Cardinals are looking like. I think it's really the product of, this is the first time all year we've seen Arenado, Goldschmidt, and O'Neill all hitting at the same time. And I'm not talking about one game. I'm talking about for a week straight. That builds a momentum onto itself. That, I think, if you combine that with the fact that they found a way to fix the pitching staff by adding Lester, Happ, J.P. McFarland, and Luis Garcia, all of which, by the way, were very unheralded moves, but they've stabilized both the bullpen and the rotation. Combine those two factors, and I think that's why they've taken off to such an extent.
We can't forget about Wade LeBlanc. Everyone forgets about him. Like, that was such a weird one, but like, he was supposed to just be like a bullpen guy, but he was with Waino right there for a little bit, So
yeah,
it sucks that he's gone, but I mean, like you said, those other names, they've definitely one of the main keys as to why we're doing so well.
It's almost like Wade LeBlanc was like the prototype. He's the first soft toss and lefty they tried, and then they found two better ones, and so he was out.
And I think Wade's still hurt, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. I think he was supposed to maybe be a bullpen piece, but then he got hurt, so he's probably not going to make it.
And then we were saying this last week, Joe, but it's like we kind of forgot all about Carlos Martinez. Like, I forgot he played this year.
Yeah, I think it was it 1-on-1 this morning? I think JR was like, because they had the athletic crew today with Smallman, and JR is like, no, we're not having Wainwright start the wild card game. Carlos Martinez is going to come back and he's going to start the wild card game. I was like, yeah, right. But yeah, you forget now that you've had him. It's been a weird year. That's really all I can say. I keep telling Brendan, I was like, I don't know what to say about it anymore. They just keep winning, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it is. It's a very unusual pattern the way they did it. They sort of started off very well. Jack Flaherty got hurt. They seemed to collapse for 5 weeks. They've been good since, and then they're just on fire at the end. So I don't know how to describe a pattern like that. I guess a roller coaster, right?
Got a comment from Birdman, one of our other great followers. Shouts out to him. He said that this winning streak reminds him of the plot to the movie Major League when they were winning to strip a piece of the owner's dress. Exactly.
Exactly. You got a good point.
Okay.
Good analogy there.
Although I hope they're not doing that with Bill DeWitt. It wouldn't have the same effect. Okay.
Keep that in the house, please.
Okay.
The concept of it.
Delete that from the whole thing. Yeah.
So with you currently being a freelance writer, do you still have access to go to games in regards to being pressed? So you have to wait till you get that official job again, like at ESPN or The Athletic or something like that?
Well, yeah, but I actually have done some freelance assignments that involved being at the stadium. I wrote a piece on Tyler O'Neill for Cardinals Magazine. I also did a piece on Ivan Herrera for Cardinals Magazine, but that was a trip to AA Springfield. And then I also, when the Padres were in town a couple weekends ago, I got the assignment from MLB.com to cover the Padres. So I was out there taking care of them. And that was kind of fun because, as you'll recall, not only did they get swept, but there was some internal team turmoil when Manny Machado started getting on Fernando Tatis in the dugout. So it was kind of an eventful and fun series to get kind of practice the journalism skills again.
So the reason why I asked that question, because we just brought up earlier Carlos Martinez. I have not seen him at all in the dugout or anything. Anything going on with that? Has he been told to stay away?
Yeah, he was sent home to the Dominican to continue his rehab.
Okay.
Now the thing to think about Carlos is he's not going to be on the team next year most likely. So I think we've probably seen the last of Carlos Martinez as a Cardinal.
And
I don't understand what happened. Like after he had his second stint with getting rehabbed and stuff, he just had so much potential. It seemed like over the last few years, like you had it and then boom, it didn't work out. Like what went wrong? That's my question.
Funny, I think what really happened is when he started getting shoulder injuries a few years ago, he's just never been the same since. You see that sometimes. A lot of times with a pitcher's elbow, you can go in surgically and fix it. I guess there's something about the structure of the shoulder. It's just harder to do that. You have a lot of little muscles in there. If something goes wrong, it can really affect you. You can kind of kill your career slowly. If you recall, if you think back to Mark Mulder, I think you saw that here a little bit. They kept saying he was making progress and then he wasn't. But I'm telling you, because I saw that guy when he was really young, and he could have been a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt. But the shoulder got him. And unfortunately, I think that's what happened with Carlos Martinez. I think he just hasn't been as good since he started having this kind of chronic shoulder issue.
So how would you describe overall his time in St. Louis? What would be the best way to really describe his time?
I've covered very few pitchers who had more talent than Carlos Martinez. Off the charts talent. You know, the thing you always heard from Cardinal sources was didn't always put in the extra work that he needed. You know, I know that there was one day after his start, you're supposed to show up the next day early and do all your running and lifting. He showed up 30 minutes before the game. He showed up late one time for a game he was supposed to pitch. They had to scratch him. So there were just things in terms that they always wondered whether his focus was in the right place. And I think that's kind of a shame because, again, if he had sort of really, you know, these gifts he was given, if he had worked with them a little more diligently, who knows how good he could have been. But I do also think we have to be fair. People have different personalities, and maybe that easygoing personality was part of the reason he was good. And he was really, really good here for a lot of years. People shouldn't forget that, in a lot of different roles, including closer, including starting. So you're talking about a borderline elite pitcher who I just think you could also wonder whether he could have been even better.
Do you feel that he's one of those guys that once he got the money, once he got paid, that hunger wasn't the same as it was before the paycheck?
I think with players I think you always wonder that, and there's just no way to know, right? I mean, I'm sure if you asked him, he'd say he's grinding just as hard as he ever did. But I know that the situation you described, especially with a player who maybe comes from a disadvantaged background and has never had money, and then they get it, do they lose that hunger that got them there in the first place? And that we'll just never be able to answer it. He would have to be the only one who could, right?
So back in, I believe it was June, there was the infamous Tommy Edman post game talking about the offense and the issues that was hurting the team at that time. What was it from your standpoint, do you feel was the turning point that made the offense finally click?
Yeah, I never really got a sense of whether Tommy was like specifically criticizing the way Jeff Albert was doing it. That was kind of how it was portrayed, it seemed like, from the media. It's really hard to know what got this offense going. Like I said, I do think Paul Goldschmidt underachieved for a long time, and where he was hitting in the lineup was going to hurt him. But again, we have seen, O'Neill's been pretty steady all the way through, but really Goldschmidt and Arenado, it felt like one of them was off at any time. And then it wasn't a lineup that was going to have a lot of length or depth to it, because I think after really around the spot where Yadier usually hits, there is a bit of a decline typically. But then what happened to me is that the three guys that you fear in the middle of that lineup finally got hot, and there was kind of a reciprocity to it where it carried over. And so I really think that's been a huge part of this. To me, they underachieved greatly offensively, and that shouldn't be lost in this. I think they do have to ask themselves whether it's going in the right direction offensively. And you know, some of these key guys getting hot at the end doesn't necessarily answer all those questions.
Looks like we lost Mark, so try to get him back real soon. But once again, this is the platform sports talk show, your Wednesday night sports delight. Mark Saxon, he's out supporting his kids at a baseball game, so it looks like he lost the signal. But we'll try to get him back as soon as he is ready to rock and roll. Hope y'all have been enjoying this conversation so far. Joe, going back to the conversation in regards to the offense, it was so bad that Tommy Edman was batting against righties, batting right-handed because he wasn't hitting from the left side.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I said before on the show, you know, that like even Cedric Mullins, he ended up doing that at some point in his career this year, and he's a 30-30 guy, I think now, you know, for the Orioles, which hasn't really happened ever. So, and it just stuck with him. But I mean, like we could sit there and talk about how things were terrible in June. They were. There's no denying it. Everyone was blaming Jeff Albert because who else are you gonna blame? But who are they blaming now? Like, can you blame Jeff Albert now? Is he getting the credit that he probably deserves now?
I know that one-on-one ESPN earlier was doing like a sorry Mo and sorry Mike, you know, stuff like that. But Jeff Albert should be getting the praise. You know what I'm saying? For
Albert from where? He's part of the front office.
No, he's the head coach.
I'm not saying that he should be getting praise, but I'm saying you can't blame him when things are bad, but then you can't, you know, where's the thank you, you know, for when the bats are going good. And it's not just those three guys. Harrison Bader's hitting the ball pretty good too. Tommy Edman's getting on base. You had Newbar last Friday in the doubleheader hit 2 homers with 5 RBI. You know, it's everyone. So I think that Jeff Albert's got a little say in that, you know. And you seen them yesterday all celebrating. They were all going to Jeff Albert, hugging him, and this and that. So I think just this year was just a weird year. And the time, you know, Flaherty got hurt, and everything went downhill from there. And then everything was on Schilt and Maddox and Albert. And now no one's not really saying anything about it. So I don't know. It's always easier to blame those guys than a whole lineup. But I mean, when you got a lineup that has the names that we have in it, I don't know. I think you look at the players, and I always look back to during this win streak. They asked Nolan Arenado about what this offense needs to be doing, and he said he can't say anything because he's not doing his job. Next night, he hits the game-winning homer, and since then the team has went off.
Exactly. I was gonna say the same thing. It's Jeff Albert, he's gonna show you the way, teach you this and that, but it's all about the player absorbing what is being taught, because you can say whatever, but if you're not taking in what he's saying and applying it and holding accountability to getting better, that's gonna be a problem. It looks like the team really brought in more collectively as a unit. Say, you know what, let me stop this whole ego thing and start trying to do things my way or whatever. And maybe it just came to a point where, you know what, in order for me to get better, I got to sacrifice. I got to do what I got to do to be a better player. And now we're seeing the results of that.
Yeah.
Now we're finally seeing the results. So it's a good thing. We are hoping to get Mark Saxon back on. He did say his call dropped, so hopefully he'll try to get back in as soon as possible. We talked about this last week with Tom Ackerman. Schilt being considered for manager of the year. We know he's not going to win it, but he definitely, I feel, should get some consideration for manager of the year. I also feel that I know it's crazy for me saying it because I've been kind of dogging him all year long, but John Mozeliak.
Oh, yeah. Joe, I wish we could rewind the tapes from this time 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Like, I wasn't as bad as on Mo like Fred was. He dogged him.
So what do I always say every time? It's not just Mo. Mo has to get permission from the
front office
to open up his wallet.
You know, like I'm sure Mo would have been like, oh, yeah, Bryce Harper would be fun to sign. DeWitt and DeWitt Jr. doesn't okay it then.
But she won't. DeWitt Jr. basically, like I was talking to my father about this earlier today. The Cardinal way in the front office, use farm system, get them up from the minor leagues, and they can stay on their minor league contract as long as possible. And if they're good enough to make roster and stay on, they still don't have to pay them a lot. Every blue moon will get that signature signee, i.e. Arenado, i.e. Pujols, when his contract came up. But we really spend the money mostly on pitching. They open up the wallets right away for pitching. But anybody else, you gotta be on that minor league system for a contract for a few years. It's crazy, but that's just how their Cardinal way is. And I know we knock it sometimes, but it does kind of work too. Think about it. I mean, our payroll is competitive, but it's still never like in the top 3. So I guess on our nerves, it's frustrating me when we see prospective people out there. But
like you just said, Bunny, though, is it works. Like we can sit here and the last 3 years at some point in the season we're like, this team is so aggravating, blah blah blah. And like Saxon said, we could, we're spoiled. That's just what it is. But at some way, shape, or form, at the end of the year, it works. What Mo does, it works. Do I wish, during the off season he would have signed one more pitcher? Yeah, but I mean, we're gonna be in October baseball, whether it's for one day or not. We still made it somehow, some way, and like Bernie Nicholas always said on 101 whenever he was there, is just make it to the dance, and anything can happen.
And as you see, a comment from Miss Williams, she says, I think coaches make a big difference. All the players are talented to some degree, or they wouldn't be there. So it comes down to how the coach manages them and redirects them where necessary. Then when I brought up about the players, pretty much absorbing the information from the coach and finally holding themselves accountable to using what you have been taught from the coach. So she said that's true. The best coach can have an effect if the players don't listen. So, and looks like a home run by Vogelbach, 2-run home run. So the Brewers are now up 3-0, top of the 6th. But hey, once again, we clinch. So looks like we ain't really worried about a streak no more for real. We just want to really get in to the playoffs, and we got there. So if they so happen to lose tonight, it won't be like, oh, well, they were, whatever. Right now, it's all about just trying to get our players ready for.
Cardinals fans will like it on Twitter, though. I bet.
Yeah, you're gonna have your few, but like I said, the biggest goal is, hey, we got there. Now let's get our players ready for next Wednesday. So that's my focus right now. But and also, like I said, guys like Matt Carpenter, the Rondones, guys who don't play a whole lot, even the young, continue to work on getting the rhythm, getting hot, staying hot, whatever. So yeah. So once again, that was Miss Williams' comment about coaching as well. So yeah, so it looks like Mark Saxon said he would not be able to get back on. So we will continue on with this show. But thank you very much, Mark Saxon, for being part of the show.
Appreciate you.
Had a great time being able to know about his story. Because, I mean, it's pretty cool though to be able to get on ESPN and do what you love to do. Then going to the Athletic and have more freedom to just do what he does, and then go on a one-on-one ESPN. So thank you very much, Mark Saxon, for your time. We appreciate it and hope to have you back in the very near future. We talked about Matt Carpenter already. We don't really see him really going to the playoffs, being on the roster. If they once they advance, I'm going to put out there once they advance. But do y'all feel now? And I wish Saxon was on so I can hear his thoughts. But with the success that Arenado has had this year, and the whole world seeing this amazing run by the Cardinals, do y'all see St. Louis regaining that free agent destination now?
I feel like the last couple of years we have a destination for some guys. When you have Goldie come over here and sign an extension right away, and Nato, telling reporters that he was sending videos to Wainwright 2 years ago to come over here, and texting Molina to come over here. I think we're a destination for guys, especially the last couple of years. Now it's just, are they going to go out there and spend the money? Are they going to go out there this year and get a shortstop? I think Carlos Correa or Trevor Story would love to come to St. Louis.
So this is my question. Again, rewind the tapes from 3 months ago. And remember, we're talking about Cardinal Nation and St. Louis is still kind of with our tradition and all that. It doesn't sometimes bring the flair of people that want to come here. And specifically, Smoooth, you were talking about that, like, this is just, they got to do something better to attract people. I know I said a little bit, but you definitely said more. And now it's changed because we're winning. So I don't know. Was winning y'all, or is it just the atmosphere? Because again, let's bring up what I talked about earlier with the fans in the stands. Without COVID, you're going to get that. And we haven't had a losing season in a while, but you're still going to get our fan base is strong. We're going to show out even when we're not doing our best. But is this a destination? A few months ago, you were just like, probably not. Now we're winning. You're like, yeah. So I'm asking you now, Smooth, which one is it? Only when we're winning is the destination. If we're not, it's not the place to be. Or even if we're winning, it's not, because we want to get some more pop and flair out of our clubhouse.
Well, most free agents, they are looking in a organization that's about winning. Are they close to getting to a World Series, or are they always in the playoffs? So, and especially, like I said, to have, even though Goldie and Arenado both got traded to the Cardinals, it wasn't like they were free agents and they said, I'm going to St. Louis. But like you said, Joe, Arenado, he's been wanting to come to St. Louis for years, and he's finally here. I just personally feel that, yes, it opens up the door now, because the world is seeing what happens when you go to the Cardinals. There's something magical about being part of an organization that's known for being around in October. And that's what these free agents look for. The Trevor Stories. They've been down in the 4th, 5th spot in their division long enough. They want to see change. So especially like with Trevor Story, he would love to probably reunite with Arenado. Corey Seager, he just can't. He's currently playing for the world champions. He was a main ingredient. So if his job is on the line, or if he can't go back to the Dodgers, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind going to the organization that has the most flags, the most pennants in the NL. That's of course the Dodgers are going to have a bigger fan base, a bigger turnout, that they got a bigger stadium. But St. Louis is St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? So we had the tradition. So I really think just seeing what the Cardinals have done over this last 17, 18 games, it's really changing up the perspective. And I really feel that a lot of free agents are going to want to be interested more now about going to the Cardinals. That's just how I feel about that. Let's see. So this is something that's been bothering me for a minute. And the Cubs game really showed the inconsistencies of umpires. I really wish Saxon was on, but these umpires, whether it's calling balls or strikes, not knowing the rules, like you saw doing that infield fly. Baseball, really, I know what's his name? The commissioner of baseball. What's his name, Joe? Yeah, there you go, man. Fraud. There we go. Something needs to be done immediately or after the season, whatever, to hold these umpires more accountable than what they're doing. Because there's just too many inconsistencies in regards to, you got one guy who calls all high strikes, but then you got the next guy that calls all lows, one guy that calls inside pitches, and whatever. Everyone needs to be on the same page in regards to calling the same thing. There should not be an inconsistency depending on who's umpiring the game. It should be the same exact strike zone, the same exact rules apply. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. I mean, it's hard because these are human beings. They're gonna make errors. But it's been to a point this year, and I know I made posts about it multiple times this year, that it's not just the Cardinals. I watch as much baseball as possible all throughout the league. This is some of the worst umpiring I've seen in years. It's bad. It's terrible. Like that game, for example, when O'Neill hit that homer against the Padres, they were calling strikes 3-4 feet
It was terrible.
It was horrible, you know. And again, like I can't remember who said it, but they were saying that some fans get mad that Schilt doesn't show emotion or whatever. They kept telling O'Neal, "Come here, get back to the dugout, get back to the dugout. Don't get tossed." And then he ended up hitting the game, the game-winning homer. But I don't know that game on Saturday or Sunday, with the infield fly rule. That was just. I don't get it. He called him out, and then he said, no, timeout. It's just been absolutely terrible all year long. And then they don't answer to the media like players have to. So we can sit there and, say that these guys need to talk to the media afterwards about the players. Like we talked about Uzuna a couple times from the NLCS a couple years ago. But then the media asked about umpires about that play, and they just say no comment. And then they say something a day or two later. That's not right. They need to be getting the same
treatment.
Yeah, the same treatment too. There's this page on Twitter. I can't remember what it's called, but it's an umpire scorecard showing the strikes and the balls and what's missed and whatnot. But that's like the most. I don't know how to explain it, but that's like the one thing that you've actually seen towards umpires this year. But then you got guys plays like that on Sunday where, the media tries asking them a question and they're just like, oh, no comment, whatever. Well, that's not right.
And Ms. Williams, I'm sure there is some type of facility or hub that umpires are going to or did at first. I'm not sure if they're doing it now, but it's not showing that they're doing it because everyone has their own mindset in regards to what a strike zone is, and it's not fair to the pitcher, to any player, the batter or the pitcher, because they try to really hone in on what the strike zone is, so they know how to approach an at bat, or if you're a pitcher, how to approach, the next batter, whatever it is. And you can't early in the game call everything inside balls, and then you throw it again in the 7th inning, and now it's a strike. It needs to be all around the same.
But we complain about that in NBA refs too, though. Like
what I tell Brendan, I was just gonna say what I tell Brendan every single game when there's a call, inside strike or outside strike or it missed barely. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that as long as they call it for both sides and it's like that the entire game. But then when it matters in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, they don't want to do what they did for the first 6 innings, and that's what's just so aggravating about it. If you're gonna be like that, then whatever. Do it consistently the entire 9 innings, but they switch it when it matters most, and that's what's aggravating.
And my thing is, I feel players should have a right to have maybe 1 or 2 reactions of their own and not get tossed out. You know what I'm saying? Now, if a guy is really being ignorant, then that's, of course, you'd eject it. But players should be able to have the freedom to have a crazy reaction without going overboard because of the frustration of the inconsistencies.
That's another subjective one. So what's considered overboard? Every ump is going to accept that differently. Just like when you are getting a heat exchange with an umpire, what words, because we're not an earshot of everything that's being said. So what words is cool and what words like, oh, hell no, get out of here. Just like with the NBA refs, again, bring them up because they were talking about this past season inconsistencies 1 through 3 quarters, the 4th quarter, all of a sudden y'all don't know what a call is, or y'all calling stupid stuff, and then y'all stop. And then some people get teed up and some don't. But again, every referee that what's the word? What is the rubric? What is it's just too subjective. Like I know MLB is talking about getting maybe a robot or whatever to do the strikes and the balls. And I'm like, yeah, but again, it's still subjective. Old school, letters to knees, strike zone. Now, and again, refs or umpires are gonna change over the years, and they'll be like, no, do it this way. Some stances change on people, how they get in the batting stance, and that may be advantageous, disadvantageous for your strike zone. That's what I'm saying. It's so subjective, but consistency is key. You're right. Whatever you call in the 1st inning, if it's an effed up strike zone, still call that one in the 5th, still call that one in the 9th. The consistency, even if you're mad about it, at least you be like, at least it was consistent. That is better than just being all over the place. Just like with NBA. Ref want to call somebody for being 3 seconds in the first quarter, and all of a sudden, the 2 to 4th, ain't no 3-second call now, but you getting on me for this and calling fouls for me just trying to check somebody, then the rest of the game not, and then when the game on the line, you ain't calling it. Like it's frustrating. I get what players go through, even though I'm not there, but I like to be consistent with regular stuff, so I get it. But when it's coming subjective, either they got to be real strict with it or not, and it's no gray area right now, in either sport.
And Miss Williams, you want to add the NBA as well. They hold the referees accountable. I think they do like a scorecard or grading system to see how the ref did after an NFL game and NBA. I'm not sure what's going on with baseball, but like I said, something needs to change because these umpires are really exposing themselves worse and worse each year. Playoffs, it doesn't even matter, man. It's just sometimes you look at a call, the ball be right down the middle of the plate, and the umpire looking like, ain't no strike. What you mean?
and I'll let you get a bad call here and there. Again, everybody's human. I get it. Everybody's human because I'm sometimes lax on refs when I'm watching the NBA games. And other times I'm like, nah, bro, come on. How obvious this is. And we can go back to the NBA championship with the Bucks and the Suns and see some of that stuff like this too obvious. But at the same time, I'll give you a pass, but that's why I said consistency though. And you'll have some refs or umps be like, yeah, I effed up, I should have called it. And they'll do a makeup call. Okay, it may get with a makeup call, but you said about the scorecards, like in NBA refs do that because the ones who score the best, those are the ones they pick for playoff games. And the rest of the refs are going home. I guess MLB may be the same way, but it's just not it seems like it should be an easy fix, but apparently it's not. And NFL know how to do it because they call on these stupid taunting all these other flags all of a sudden this season. They weren't doing this before, so they fixed that real quickly. So it could be changed with a change of a light switch. So I don't know. MLB, you said that they always behind, so good luck.
Well, that's the thing. They've been trying to work on this whole electronic strike zone thing, in the minors or whatever, but they've been doing that for a couple of years, I feel like now, so something's obviously not good with it, or like at least not consistent enough either, just like these human beings. So I don't know. I really don't know what else you could do because I know we've talked about on the show before as well. We've seen examples of the electronic strike zone, and it barely nicks the corner of the box that you see on TV, and then they're going to call it a strike. So strikeouts are going to go way through the roof, more than they already are.
Yeah, and which leads to the replay system as well. Something else that needs to be adjusted. It shouldn't take 3 guys to go and listen to umpire to see what's happening. Every game, I feel there should be a centralized umpire or someone, maybe not even an actual umpire, but there's someone who just has a freaking flat screen, high def TV that can easily tell this person was out, this person was safe. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be as long out process as it has been, especially with having high def. You got cameras everywhere. It shouldn't take long to get a play right. Bottom line, it shouldn't take you to have on these 1985 headphones. You know what I'm saying, to get an opinion from somebody else. It should be a better way. And same thing with NFL. It should be a better way in regards to the replay system where it shouldn't take as long. Maybe get like a buzzer in which you get like a page. He's out. Boom. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you having to go walk 5 miles and then put on these big old headsets just to be told what the correct call is, if they give you the correct call, which that baffles me too, because you have the information right there. You have the TV like we do. We see it at our homes on our phones or tablets or televisions, and we see the replay plain as day. Boom, he was safe, and then y'all still call him out. Like, what are y'all looking at?
Yeah, that's been just as bad this year too. With, I guess you could put that still in the umpires, category, because some of them are clear as day. You don't need the replay system. You should have gotten the call right to begin with, and then they have the replay system, and they still get it wrong. So I don't know. And Danny Mac talks about it a lot on air. Is whenever they are reviewing something, sometimes they don't even know what they're reviewing. I do agree, like, they should probably do something like they do in the NFL, you know, like, what are they reviewing? That would be very helpful for fans, especially at the stadium. You know, unless you're gonna go on, not everyone has Twitter, and they can be like, "Oh, what's Katie Woo saying about what are they reviewing right now?" You know.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that need to be changed in regards to the game of baseball. Ms. Williams says problem is robots see in black and white. Either you meet the program criteria or you don't. So borderline fails. They may have more angles. Let's see, let me go back here. They may have more angles and views than we do. But that's the whole thing is that if you have more angles and your cameras are HD, 8K, 4K, it should be even better to review and get the call right just like that. It shouldn't take 5 minutes. Let's see. The NFL does define what's being reviewed, but we may not hear what it is. And that's something else too. Uh, just like in the NBA or NHL or even in the NFL, if something's being reviewed, the umpire should be telling the crowd what's going on at the game. This player is being reviewed because coach is arguing if this runner was out of second base, and then explain what the result was as well. Don't just do no and then walk away. Give us some explanation. You know what I'm saying? Help us. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna make things better too. Be more transparent. That's all that we're asking for as well. So a lot of things that need to be done, but it can be done right if you really want to make the game better. And like I said, it's still at the end of the day, it's gonna make the umpires be more consistent as well, I feel. Joe, what are your thoughts now? I think I asked you this before, but I just want to double check. What are your thoughts now on next year? Should they do the if you had a choice, would you prefer the regular double header, 9 innings, or would you prefer what they're doing now?
I don't know. That's like the one that I'm just kind of in the middle for, because like I like the whole doubleheader back to back, maybe like an hour and a half in between. But then also I hate that when it's, you know, you're in the fifth inning and you're like, all right, well, this game's already over with. You know, that's the one thing I hate about it. It feels like less time to do some damage. But I mean, if they were to bring back one rule that they've implemented the last year or so, I'd be okay with that one, other than like the runner at second type thing. But I mean, I don't know. But that one's still in the air for me. I know how Bunny thinks. How do you think, Fred?
I love the 7 inning double headers. It makes the game go by fast. It's right to the point. And like I said, it's 2 games. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm saying, you know, one game, every game should be 7 innings. But them double headers is different, and I like it. It makes the game more entertaining and exciting, right to the point. Maybe you'll have one pitcher who may have a complete game. Unfortunately, he won't be in the record books as a official no hitter, even though that should be changed too. But still, I just enjoy the excitement of, like I said, 2 games in one day, but the games are going by faster because of 7 innings. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, like last Friday, that was a blast. Like, obviously, it was more of a blast because the Cardinals won 2 games.
Right.
Lots of home runs and everything like that. Like I said, if you're down a run in the 5th inning, it kind of feels like a really big uphill battle. That's all I'm saying. The 5th inning of the 9th inning game, you're like, okay, I still got some time. But again, if there was one thing to stay from the last couple of years, that'd be one thing that I'm okay with staying.
Yep. And Miss Williams, he likes the double headers because it's less physical stress on the players. Exactly. So 9 inning games, and you may have to go into extra innings. You may have to use more players. Double header games, 7 innings. You may not have to, you know. And that's the whole point. You're not trying to, put more into other guys having to play when you have lesser innings, and hopefully that 1-2 guys, that's all you'll need to finish that game off.
You remember in 2019 we swept a doubleheader against the Reds, though? That was fun. That was really fun. Walk-offs, I think, in both of them, too. Good stuff.
The universal DH and a lot of these questions I think I've asked the ladies before. I definitely was hoping to ask Mark Saxon, but since I got him lined up, we're gonna go ahead and ask it now because things may change. People may have a different perspective now compared to months back when we had the discussion. So I'll just ask now, y'all thoughts on having the universal DH?
I'm ready for it.
You told me next season is coming, Joe.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm ready for it. I loved it last year. I think I said this last week even. A couple years ago, if you would have asked me, I'd be like, no, I like the whole, like game planning, with the pitcher and this and that.
Yeah.
But
the strategy.
Yeah, the strategy. I can't think of words today, but the strategy, I love the strategy behind it, the NL type of the game. But now, I'm like, last year, we didn't even have a good DH. We had Brad Miller. But that was exciting. You know what I'm saying? So, like I know Ackerman brought up possibly Nolan Gorman being a DH next year, or Juan Yepes. That intrigues me, I think it would be a lot of fun. I definitely think it helps our team out for sure.
Right.
So I think it'd be a good thing for the game. More guys would get paid during the off season too, because there's been a lot of times last couple of years where there's big names that aren't being signed, big bets, and now that there's another 15 teams, that's someone out there that can sign them.
Mm-hmm. Sign them for the offense and don't need them for the defense. I mean, in other sports, how you bring somebody in, let's say NBA, you need somebody for the defense, the game on the line 2 minutes to go. You swap out players because you need them for defensive presence. It's similar with the DH. You just need somebody for the offense, not the defense. It definitely would give 15 more roster spots. It'll little longevity for pitchers. Like I already said, strategy. I mean, I've always thought it was absurd how you have one league and 2 different rules. Like,
right,
mind-boggling to this day. But anyway, overall, my thoughts haven't changed. I'm for the DH. It almost be like if it's depending on who the player is, it's their way to end their career doing that, or somebody you can kind of plug them in if they're coming off of an injury or something. Don't want to put them all in, but just get the back going. That's a way you can use somebody. It's more pluses and minuses to me. Now, as a way to, it may prolong games, because if you have an offensive bat and a power hitter at the DH spot, you definitely gonna have to add bat last longer than usually with a pitcher doing it. But you can always again tweak it. Keep the DH for your regular games, and then if you go to, actually, you don't have to tweak it. Just bring it on. And I'm thinking I don't want the game to be too much longer, so we add a DH. It gotta still be. I know they got the clock now. That clock ain't short enough. Either innings got to be some minutes or something. Something's got to give, y'all. I know, Joe. You know my feelings. We opposite because I get the tradition, but the game is not going to last, and you're not going to have much of your fan base if it stays the way it is with the length of the games. Like, I like how the Cardinals doing the school year 6:45 times instead of the 7:15. That 30 minutes makes a big difference, and that's just with the game to start. But stuff like that, that's what I'm saying. The clock, though, they got to trim it down some. So DH is going to make them a little longer, at least starting off to me with the NL side of it, getting used to it. But we can find a way to trim this clock down, and I'm all for it.
One thing that intrigues me about the DH, though, is when it comes to the World Series. I feel like the NL team always had a little bit of a upper hand when it came to it, because they had to come over and the pitchers had a bat.
That is true.
I mean, like, you think about 2011, Kyle Loesch bunting in that Game 6, like, would Colby Lewis been able to do that for the Rangers?
No.
Probably not. Like, I know they've hit sometime in their lives, so that's one thing that's kind of interesting, like, what's going to happen. And then when you're the NL team and you go on the road trip to the AL Stadium, you're like, okay, cool. Now I can put so-and-so as DH and have someone else play first base, So I think that's intriguing. But, I mean, it's definitely time for the DH to come. Now, I know how you talk about the time of the game. It could be more offense, and then that means the game's longer. So, just like a game in Colorado today started at like 4 o'clock, and when the show was on, it was still on.
Well,
only in the seventh.
That was like a rain delay they had there out there though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's a big hitters park. That's what happens. Those games. I feel like every game we have out in Colorado, it's a very long game. So that's just what happens when there's a lot of offense.
And then, like I said last week, man, people aren't paying. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to see Jack Flaherty taking that bat.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I want to see Wainwright taking that bat. No, they're not there for that.
Well, sometimes people want to see Wainwright swing the bat, though.
Yeah, that's for those who are like 7 and up. So they'll be all right.
Yeah.
This has been an incredible show. This has been an incredible show. Once again, shouts out to Mark Saxon for joining us. Unfortunately, his phone cut off, and he had to go ahead and make moves to be there as a father to his sons at their baseball game. So once again, thank you very much, Mark Saxon, for being part of our show. To Stan, shouts out to you as well. Looks like he had his play that went down this past weekend. So shouts out to him. We'll see him back next month. I want to do one more thing. The ladies don't even know about this, but I'm going to do one more thing before we leave. So back then on the platform Sports Talk Show, we used to, have some fun little segments and stuff like that, and just have a little fun, amongst each other. And I want to bring something that I felt was at the right time to go ahead and do. So I'm going to go ahead and call this segment "Damn, I Was Wrong."
I feel like when I came onto the show, you guys did a couple of these towards the end.
Yeah, so we had a whole lot of different segments, and I wanted to go ahead and bring something back because of what's going on with the Cardinals. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it Cardinal thing related. But if you have something in regards to a different sport that you may have had your thoughts of what was going to happen and it didn't, and you were wrong, you can go ahead and leave your comments, and then make sure at the end you have "Damn, I was wrong." So, for instance, I'm gonna go ahead and do mine. Just give y'all a little example. Then we may have some more later on. But I recall a lot of times I was talking about Harrison Bader, and I was saying, man, between Randy A or Adolis Garcia, should have kept them guys, and they would have been better for the team. But I've always said, Bunny and Joe, that progress is what?
Sexy.
There we go. And
sexy.
So Bader and O'Neal, but Joe, you have to admit though, I have been saying even since spring training, I've been saying I think Tyler O'Neal is going to show out this year, and he's definitely done that. But the one guy that I wasn't sure of course, was Bader. He's almost hitting like what 270, 280 right now. Playing elite defense. He should be winning a Gold Glove easily. It's in the field, but it's just about the intangibles. Just him being on the field makes that team better. You keep Carlson in right field. You keep O'Neal in left field. Edmonds should not have to play outfield no more in his life. There should not be no reason for him to be playing the outfield anymore as a Cardinal. He should be solidified, at second base. But Bader has brought that spark what he's done over these last 17, 18 games. Hell, he just won NL Player of the Week this past week as well for what he's done. So for all my Rosarenas and Garcias and whoever else, Tommy Pham, Mo. So this for Mo as well. Hey, my bad. Damn. I was wrong.
Just how you said it. Damn.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
I will say that I didn't think Bader was going to do this because, like you said, he's batting like high 260s, 270s. He's got 15 bombs. 15. Right. If he was healthy, he might be a 20 homer guy, So I always knew that his defense was going to make this team better. His energy is going to help this team. And like I said, beginning of the year, the defense up the middle, that's one of the main things you want to have for a team. I'll say mine, O'Neal. Damn, I was wrong. That's all I'm going to say is Tyler O'Neal. like Mr. Canada. Oh, Canada. I think he's proved a lot of people wrong. There's a lot of people that thought he was going to do this, and then there's a lot of people like me. I think I said beginning of the year, I hope he proves me wrong, and he did. So, before we go to Bunny, though, I want to see if you actually wrote this down. Beginning of the year, you thought the Reds were gonna win the division or something, and I said they might finish in third or fourth. And I was like, write this down, and you're like, I got you. And so I'm just saying.
I said the Reds were going to finish fourth. Or
No, I did. I said they were going to finish that, and y'all thought I was crazy. So I said third or fourth. So either way, there was a damn I was right. There you go.
I don't think. Okay, I'll give you that. So you were right. What did I say that the Cardinals will win the division? I didn't think I picked them to win the division. I said they'll go to the playoff though with the wild card.
Yeah, I think I want to say I'm going to find the show. I think Stan definitely said Cardinals win the division. I wasn't sure myself if they were or not.
I wasn't confident enough because I remember this because I talked about our pitching.
It should say a broke clock is right twice a day.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what?
It got all quiet. I was like, what's happening?
I was like, wait, did I miss that? Okay, got it. But yeah, I don't think I picked them winning division, but playoffs, yeah, with wild card. And I surprised her because I was going against everybody. I was wrong. But I said the White Sox were going to go into the playoffs with the wild card, not with their division, and they kicked their division's butt. So damn, I was
their
wrong
division's the worst in the league.
Yeah, well, that's what the Central is on the NL side, though. The NL Central's always been known to be the weakest division, and it still is to me.
I mean, even though I said that about the Reds, they still beat up some good teams earlier in the year. The White Sox, since the All-Star break, are 500, and all year long they have not beaten good teams. So we talk about that with the Cardinals, but if we were in the AL Central, we'd probably be a better team because that division's just trash.
Yeah, we'll have the best record.
Yeah, we would. I don't even know how many wins. I think the White Sox have 91 right now. I mean, we might finish the year with that in a division with the Brewers who have 90 plus, and the Reds are going to win 80 plus. So I don't know. White Sox, I don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs.
The White Sox right now are there we go. The White Sox are 90 and 68, and the Cardinals are 88 and 69. So you be just 2 games behind them.
Yeah.
Well, actually, 1 game behind the loss column. Now think about it. Yep.
Yeah.
So another damn, I was wrong. Mike Shildt. After that collapse, when that we had that 2 weekend stretch, giving up game-winning home runs, when Alex Reyes was out there, I was like, man, you know what? Shildt got to go. I'm tired of it. He's done. Let him go. The whole 9. Now I'm saying he should be manager of the year or be in the running. So I would never say anything wrong about Shildt again. He know what he's doing. He sees more than, of course, than what we can see as outsiders. He's there with this team. He sees the talent. He knows what he's talking about. So, damn, I was wrong.
And one thing I can say, I never doubted Shildt because we saw what he did when he took over for Matheny in the middle of the season in 2016. And it was like we were so close to going to the playoffs they didn't make it at the very end, but he turned them around as well. So I know he knows what he's doing. I wasn't anti-Tony La Russa. I wasn't pro-Tony La Russa like a lot of other Cardinal Nation fans are, but they still have a different style. And I like Shildt's style. The only question I had was when the bullpen kept getting jacked up, mainly by the Reyes blowing all them games. I understand that, but he knows something more than we did. But I never doubted him. It was just frustrating that we just knew the Cardinals had potential they weren't showing. And now, and I think like Sax said earlier, Goldschmidt wasn't doing his thing. For now, you're seeing everybody, all these bats at one time. Goldschmidt, Arenado, O'Neill, everybody at one time. we were wanting this 4 months ago, and it took this long, but I guess late than never because we're in the playoffs. So,
and it's not very likely that everyone on your team's going to click all year round, you know? Like,
right.
Obviously, the Blue Jays are going to have 4 guys with 30-plus homers and 100-plus RBIs. Like, that doesn't happen all the time, you know? But, I mean, like, the Dodgers haven't hit this year, you know? Like, people are... Cody Bellinger won the MVP a couple years ago, and they want him gone off the team now, you know? Like, it's never going to click 100% all year long, and I'd rather it happen later than earlier in the year because, you know, hopefully that means it's going to be going at all cylinders in the playoffs. So, I mean, that's one thing everyone always forgets. All the other sports have very short seasons compared to baseball. It is literally a marathon. You know, you just got to stick with it. And if anything proves to us that, is this Cardinals team this year. You know, after that one grand slam to Vogelbach that Reyes, you know, gave up, that was probably the most deflated I felt about this team all year. More than June. More than June.
I was so pissed.
Yeah, more than June. I was like, man, this might be it. Back-to-back weekends, this might be it. And they stuck with it. And you heard in interviews last night that the guys were just stuck by Schilt the entire time and all the other coaches. And that just shows that we're just spoiled fans and we don't know what's really going on in the clubhouse.
Yeah. So, and my last one, I have to go ahead and say this. Edmundo Sosa, because I recall after spring training, I was high on Jose Rondon. I'm like, man, you should go ahead and just, you know, start Rondon, you know, or not start, but have him at least be on the team because the young was gonna be their starter. So I'm like, man, let's go ahead and just bring up Jose Rondon. But of course, they didn't do it because at the time, Sosa, if he didn't make the team, he would have been having to clear waivers because he didn't have no more options to go back to the minor leagues. So he's pretty much forced to be on the team. And I was like, oh, here we go. Sosa ain't we did a whole lot, you know, the whole 9. But then you saw the struggles with Paul DeYoung. Sosa came in, started doing his thing, and I was one of the advocates saying Sosa needs to start. This dude here needs to go ahead and show out. And now he won pretty much a starting job. So to Edmundo Sosa, congrats on a great season. Hope you get back very soon so you can get ready for the wild card game. I had you wrong. So, damn, I was wrong.
As Tony Braxton said, you're wrong, dead wrong.
Hey, you know, one thing that might have helped Sosa, though, like what you were saying, that he was going to have to try to clear waivers or whatever, you know, if he didn't make the team, is sometimes these guys, they need a new, why can I not think of words? New city, I can't think of words, but, you know, new scenery. Sometimes they need new scenery for them to actually start, you know, producing. Sosa, maybe that was his little kick in the butt, like, hey, we're going to place you on waivers, and, you know, he's been good since. I don't think he's your starting shortstop next year, nor that he should be, but he's like Randy Carricker texted to the Fast Lane today. I don't know if you heard that, Fred, saying, like, I thought Sosa was just, like, pointless or whatever he said, you know, like there was no use for him whatsoever, and he's like Bader. He's been a little lightning bolt, you know?
And speaking of Jose Rondon, he just made an incredible play running out to center field and catch a ball from second base. So Jose Rondon kind of making this case. He must have heard me talk about him or something. But anybody else have any damn I was wrong about anything? It could be about the baseball team or anything else real quick before we leave.
Not that I can think of.
Nope, I've said my piece. I'm just glad that you are off of Mo's back because you was on him. I'm so glad that it came through and pulled together. So now Smoooth cannot talk so bad about him. Man, I know I talk bad about Carpenter. Like, you know how I talk bad about Carpenter, but at least he didn't play most of the season. So I got my wish. You were ready to get him gone, but thank goodness he stuck around and now look.
Yep. Let's see here. So I hope once again that y'all have enjoyed this show. It's definitely been fun. Once again, shouts out Mark Saxon. It's been great. Stan, shouts out to you. See you in October. And of course, next week we have Ladies Night. So I know Bunny. I'm sorry about that, Joe. I know you be, and I will be too. Having my screen on the corner game, the wild card game. It's gonna be crazy, but I look forward to another great show for the ladies. Last month, and I know Joe, you went on there, but last month it was hilarious. Bunny, y'all, y'all had it going crazy last month. So let's see what's gonna happen next month. It should definitely be exciting. Let me see what's going on in the comments here. Miss Williams says it's nice to be able to watch the whole show. She'll probably be late next week. We understand. Look forward to having you on, Miss Williams.
And everybody. No, we appreciate you, Miss Williams.
Yes, everybody else. Hope y'all enjoyed it. This show will be archived immediately on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and I guess I'll go ahead and break this out too. But our shows will also start being broadcast and archived on Roku. So if you have a Roku device right now, you can go to your Roku device and put in the platform Sports Talk Show, and you will see our channel on there, and you will see our show from last week with Tom Ackerman, and you're going to be seeing more and more shows as the weeks go by. So we are now on Roku, and pretty soon we'll be on other outlets as well. So we all about expanding what we're doing, getting the world to see what we're doing, and hop on and to be part of this wonderful train called the Platform Sports Talk Show. So with that being said, another great show, ladies. Thank you very much once again for y'all time. Miss Williams says, cool.
Cool. Just no exclamation point, just cool.
Yeah, just cool. I like it. So once again, next week is Ladies Night, goes down every first Wednesday of the month. Can y'all believe it's about to be October?
Can't believe it, but I'm
This year's almost over. It's almost a wrap.
All right.
We're already planning baby Bova's birthday party.
Wow. It's truly
She's
amazing.
The 23rd, right?
Hmm?
She's the 23rd of December?
21st.
21st, okay.
21st, yep.
Just missed that Christmas mark and New Year's.
And I'm right after it. Not me, but
she's gonna be pretty spoiled the
29th.
rest of her life, probably. So birthday and Christmas right there. So
right there.
Yep.
So with that being said, your Wednesday night Sports Delight, the Platform Sports Talk Show. Don't forget, hit that like, that retweet, share with your peoples on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and of course on YouTube. Subscribe, click on that bell. Sorry, Servo.
Right, hope I ain't scared Miss Williams' cat.
Because Joe, anytime we go live,
you will be notified.
There you go.
Sports Talk Show, your boy Smoooth, along with
Bunny
and Joe Bell.
When it's about sports,
it still becomes our business.
You just want me to say it now? And business just keeps continuing to pick up.
There we go. And everybody, we out, right, we out. Ba-da-da-da-da-da.